Hey, this is Notser, and this is a look at the proposed U.S. cruiser changes in 0.6.1. For many of you, the U.S. cruiser line represented a cruiser line that you were probably excited to play. Oh man, the Cleveland, I heard the Cleveland's good. Oh, the Des Moines really good. Well, there's a lot of bad in between those ships, and the Cleveland is not the powerhouse that it once was. The Des Moines is still really good, and it's absolutely worth it to go for the Des Moines. However, the Pensacola, the New Orleans, and the Baltimore all leave something to be desired, and that something is success. Because let's face it, you're not going to find a lot in those. And the reason is the rate of fire. It doesn't have torpedoes. It only has rate of fire. It doesn't have smoke. It doesn't have anything other than the rate of fire to deal with ships. So, Wargaming is going to be buffing the rate of fire of 4 U.S. cruisers. The Tier 1, the Tier 7, the Tier 1, the Tier 8, the Tier 9, and the Tier 10. The Tier 1, the Erie, is going from a 7-second reload to 6 seconds. And it's a Tier 1 meta. It doesn't really matter. I guess it's good, but you don't have radar, you don't have smoke, you don't have premium consumables. You are just playing the game, shooting other people. Yeah, there's not a lot of strategy there. If they felt like the shortcoming existed, it existed. There's not a lot of variables that change the outcome. So it's good for the Erie captains that go in to Tier 1 and go, yes, I love my Erie. I prefer the complexity of the consumable metagame. I know it's slow sometimes whenever you're playing high tier, but I really like going in and breaking up the enemy's strategy. Just absolutely brutalizing the destroyers. And the U.S. cruisers, well, the Des Moines is really good at it. The Cleveland, really good at it. I want them all to be really good at it. So, the New Orleans is getting a buff from 14 seconds to 12 seconds. And outside of the DPS, this is significant because the radar exists for 30 seconds. If you fire right at the start, second 14, second 28, that is 3 salvos in the span of 30 seconds. That's pretty close to 30 seconds. You might actually miss out on 1 salvo if it takes you a long time to track at second 1, or maybe you are just waiting half a second to aim better. So you could conceivably lose that 3rd salvo. Well, the improvement to 12 seconds gives you a much bigger window to make full use of radar, and that's appreciated. But it's probably mostly a damage boost over the course of a minute, or 2 minutes, or the game. And that's that's not insignificant, that's very significant. I just want to try and put in context exactly what the changes will give you. Now, the Baltimore will also be receiving a reload buff. It's going to be going from 13 seconds to 10 seconds, and Baltimore has a 35-second radar. That means that with the old 13 seconds, you could fire at the start, 13, 23, and then, 39. You can't get that 4th salvo in. Not in a million years. No way. You would have to have some combination of adrenaline rush, rate of fire buffs, all that sort of thing. But now, 10 seconds, you can go at the start, 10, 20, 30, and still have 5 seconds left over to really confirm that you're going to be able to get that 4th salvo in. And that's really appreciated. It straight up buffs your use of radar and your DPS output in general. And for the Des Moines, for whatever reason, they decided to buff the Des Moines. It's going from 6 seconds to 5.5. Now, I don't really think this needs it. If I'm going to be quite honest with you, it will improve the way Des Moines works with radar. Instead of 6 salvos, you will be able to get 7, theoretically, in the span of 40 seconds. That is way more than you should ever need for a single destroyer, but it could allow you to kill 2. That's even better. I don't think the Des Moines is going to honestly get these, because I think the Des Moines is probably one of the best ships in the game, period. But you never know. You never know. Now, another ship that is going to be receiving some love is the Pensacola. Its visibility is going to be buffed. It's going to be easier to conceal the ship. And concealment on the Pensacola was one of the big issues. It's a really tall ship, and it needs to be seen across the map, Notser, don't you see? Well, yeah, but the range is garbage. Why is the range so crappy? It can't compete with the Soviets, the Brits, the Japanese, and the German. I mean, it requires to get close to the target to even engage. If I get close to the target and I'm detected, well, what am I supposed to do? Just take damage? That's sort of what happens in the Pensacola. So this is appreciated. And to a lesser extent, a lot more of the concealment versus the maximum range that you have on your U.S. cruisers is an issue, but the Pensacola is egregious in the concealment department. So I really appreciate these changes. I am very excited for these changes. I will be testing them on the public test server, probably right now. If you're watching this past 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time or 1700 UTC, I intend to play them out and try them and see what it actually feels like. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of people doing that. There are other changes as well. They're going to be increasing the chance for torpedoes to cause flood, and the flood itself is not going to last as long as it currently does. So what does that mean? Well, that means you got to be careful. You've got to be careful now. You cannot afford to take as much torpedoes and get away with it. At some point, your luck is going to run out, and you just have to deal with it. They're also improving the Ibuki's turret traverse, which is, of course, appreciated. Japanese are notorious for having terrible turret traverse. The T-22, the Tiger 22, the T-22 sounds like a tank. The T-22 is also getting improved turret traverse. But you shouldn't be firing your guns that much in your German destroyers. I know, but no, but this, trust me, they are torpedo first, isolated targets, use the islands to your advantage, and fire and smoke. That is the Germans in a nutshell. So yeah, what will be happening from... Oh yeah, they're also improving the way the flood penalty and the speed drop occurs when you're flooding. So it shouldn't feel so absolutely debilitating when it occurs. Which, you know, I appreciate that. I really do. On some ships, it feels like I'm going in a fourth speed or something stupid like that. So, yeah, that's the changes. I am interested to check them out. Of course, I will be talking about it in more depth. What do you think of the U.S. cruiser change? Is there honestly anyone outside of the Des Moines who disagrees with the buff to the Baltimore, the New Orleans, and even the Erie and the Pensacola? I can't even fathom anyone going, you know what? The Baltimore is the most powerful ship in the game, and why is it even... It just isn't there yet. It's really annoying if it finds you out and you're a destroyer, but it's not the most powerful ship in the game. Maybe the Des Moines is now the most powerful. That's the one that I'm on the edge. I'm like, I don't know if it needs it. I really don't know if it needs it, but I'll take it. I will check it out for sure. I will decide for myself if I do indeed need that rate of fire buff. So I hope this was interesting. The radar relationship is very, very important for the U.S. cruisers. The significant change to the way it feels when you use radar is going to change the outcome. That extra salvo during the effect could be the difference between winning and losing. So they have to be very, very, very careful with that. However, it should be punishing. If you know there's a U.S. cruiser or a Soviet cruiser, don't go next to them. You gotta be crafty if you're in one of those destroyers. I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll catch you next time.